So everyone, thanks for joining today. My name's Kyra. I'm a resident in Nashville, Tennessee, and kind of trying to get the GCR Resident Partners rolling a little bit. So thanks for joining today. So our main kind of topic today is talking about World Cancer Day, which is coming up. It's February 4th, which is a Saturday. It's kind of a weird day, but ultimately, like, we want to develop a campaign for it. So a lot of this is raising awareness to cancer patients and cancer treatment. I think radiotherapy is traditionally very underrepresented in that. And so there's always more we can do to advocate for our field and for our patients. So we can jump to the next slide. Kind of a little bit of background. What is World Cancer Day? So here's kind of our agenda today. We're just going to talk about what is World Cancer Day, some experiences people have had, and then moving on, we really want to create some one-pagers that are very action-driven. So it's like we have this one page, and all you have to do is like copy and paste for campaigning for World Cancer Day. So making it very easy to jump into that. Okay, so that's kind of our goal today, is to workshop those pages and come up with succinct and concise messages that really help to advocate. So. All right, so what is World Cancer Day? So basically, these are pulled from the World Cancer Day website. So ultimately, it's all about making care equitable and accessible to all people, regardless of this list here, like any barriers, socioeconomic status, any sorts of biases or racial or sexual or any type of way that people can be discriminated against, but basically leveling that playing field. And this is a global issue. It's World Cancer Day. It's for everyone. So it's mitigating these, first world and second world and third world countries and issues that they face, interchangeably, and that we all face, and that it's all kind of, the onus is all on us to help close that care gap. So you can jump to the next slide. The theme for the last couple of years has been, or for 2022 to 2024, is close the care gap, and it's all about ending the injustice of things that can be treated, and staging, workup, all these things for patients that they aren't receiving simply because of inequities, social inequities, racial inequities, all those things. So jump to the next slide here. So the World Cancer Day website has a ton of campaign materials. I was exploring this yesterday and for the last couple of days, and they have like phenomenal resources. So they have like social media, like posters and stuff, and infographics, fact sheets. They have like fun little logos, like the one in the top corner of the screen that you see. And kind of our focus for today is really looking at advocacy for our patients, for the radiation oncology workforce, and for digital transformation, which is in the recent GCR white paper. So really, how can we use social media and digital, technology to campaign for World Cancer Day and for radiotherapy? So, that's kind of the opportunities, and this is pulled from our last webinar, just some kind of a reminder of our white paper of closing the care gap. I know that Professor Price talked about this last time, but ultimately that we have this incredible opportunity to use technology to campaign and reach out and really connect globally and support each other and advocate for our field and for our patients. So, taking advantage of that. And that's kind of the goal today, is to figure out, like, how can we do that? How can we be effective with that rather than just kind of shooting in the dark? So next slide. And this is just kind of more from that white paper. And you can find that. That's on the GCR website too, if you want to read it. It's really informative and very helpful. So, remote learning, online learning, a lot of this kind of fueled by the COVID pandemic and our ability to now be more interconnected. I mean, we're having a Zoom meeting right now. So, it's been great. So if we can take better advantage of that, that would be, it would be a missed opportunity if we didn't. So, all right. And I think next I'm gonna pass it on to Darien to talk a little bit about what exactly is a social media advocacy campaign.
One big thing for us in talking about doing a social media campaign and why it's important is that, like Kyra was just talking about with the digital transformation. This is like an opportunity for us to engage group and as a global audience. And even though this group of us is quite small right now, we all have our own insular networks, whether it's with the universities that you're studying at, whether it's, the societies that you're a part of. And it's really an opportunity for us to collectively create a streamlined message and avoid duplicated efforts, right? And then we can actually measure the results of how the impact of the radiotherapy community through this campaign. So like Kyra was mentioning, this is just a poster that I created just today for highlighting some of the things that we can talk about. This is a quote that I pulled directly from our GCR Advocacy Toolkit page, which you can go onto the website and take a look at that. And we're going to talk a little bit about how and why this is important, and how we can do this individually. So these are steps that we've put together and through our advocacy toolkit that we've published that you can take advantage of. So please check it out on the website. But the first is we need to brand the campaign. Second, personalize the campaign. And third, engage with GCR or similarly aligned organizations whose focus is to promote radiotherapy. First, let's talk about branding the campaign. So Kyra and I, in planning the meeting today, have talked about we need to come up with a short, catchy title for what we're doing today. There's different organizations that we look to as great examples. Radiotherapy UK, very specific, their title, their name. They have their Catch Up with Cancer campaign that's so memorable and very catchy and short. Targeting Cancer in Australia, such a direct, focused title that they use. Of course, coming up with hashtags is really important. So we, in our campaign, will use the hashtags that have been created by the UICC World Cancer Day, which is just hashtag World Cancer Day and hashtag Close the Care Gap, like Kyra was mentioning, which is the theme for I think it's a 3-year theme. So from 2022 through 2024. Then we need to talk about today, what can we do to really focus in on radiotherapy? So these are I just did a quick search of what people are putting out there right now for Close the Care Gap. People are using hashtag childhood cancer, hashtag cancer survivor, hashtag cancer screening. So we can come up with our own hashtag that's going to represent the message that we're trying to deliver. Personalizing the campaign. So the wonderful thing about getting a group together like this is that you all are engaged in this field for some reason, whether you're working in the industry, whether you're working already in the field, whether you're a resident that's trying to build your career, and you can you can be the heart of the campaign, which we'd really like for you to be as we promote for this World Cancer Day. So I always tell people, think about what your personal brand is. Who are you? Why are you representing the radiotherapy field? You can use photos and videos, just like you saw before in those 2 posters in my last slides. You can upload your own photos to the UICC World Cancer Day website. You can make your own campaign. So we can send you links to that so you know how to do that. And we'll include that with our toolkit, which is our objective at the end. And then also you can use your own personal video as well. And I just made this note too. Remember to source or get consent for any of the photos that you use, unless they're open source photos. You just want to make sure you're not, and you all know this in the field of healthcare, you don't want to be taking pictures of people and posting them on the internet without anyone's consent. And let's talk a little bit about video creation. So maybe you saw on social media the video that Kyra created to invite people to come to this meeting. It was such a great example of what you can do to engage people. My work as a director of communications, and also my previous work with other clients, has been really focused on creating campaigns for social media. And video is, everyone knows, if you have a TikTok account, and you're creating content regularly, video is just where it is at right now. And every other social media platform is trying to catch up with that. So creating video can be a really powerful tool. And when you do this, you can do it in a really simple way. If you're bold with your engagement, so creating a simple introduction that's professional and talking about your connection to GCR or World Cancer Day, and then highlighting a reason why you're involved in the radiotherapy campaign and following up with a call to action. This is probably the most important part, which is why it also comes like as a strong message at the end to get people to be involved. And you don't want to make it very long. So I just created an example of what my script would be if I was creating my own video. And I would say something like this. It's Darien Laird here. I'm the Director of Communications for the Global Coalition for Radiotherapy, and I'm thrilled to support World Cancer Day as we advocate for patients around the world who are displaced and need better access to radiotherapy and life-saving cancer treatments. The past year, the GCR has been joined forces with radiotherapy professionals around the world to support our colleagues and their patients in Ukraine and those who have been forced to leave as refugees. Take a moment today to learn more about the realities of these professionals and patients by going to the GCR website linked below and see how you can get involved. Awareness will help us close the care gap. So I did a quick introduction. I focused on highlighting an issue and kind of tied it into how I've been connected to that issue in the past year through the GCR. And then my final call to action, it's basic. It's just going to the GCR website. But, if I provide the link, then people are like, oh, I'm inspired to connect because I have a reason to go to this link and I have a reason to learn more about what's going on with the GCR and with radiotherapy on a global level. And we will dive into how we're going to do that, how we're going to create those scripts so that everyone has like an easy way to engage and share and promote for World Cancer Day. So the last thing is engaging with others. And like I said, we all have a very unique network in the radiotherapy world. And this is an opportunity for us to connect, invite, and engage with them. So we're going to ask everyone to find 5 different organizations, whether it's the university where you study, centers where you've worked, on your online community, a nonprofit that you're involved with, or society, and they don't have to necessarily be specific to radiotherapy. We'll talk a little bit later about our target audiences. But once we are able to identify a couple of different organizations, then we can go and collect their information, their social media handles, maybe contact information for their communications or social media leads. We're so thrilled to have from Astro, the communication team represented here. So thanks for joining us, Ali. And just that's an opportunity for us then to create and share this mutual message with other people in the field. And when we do that, our message, our unified message becomes stronger. We're not duplicating efforts. We're all promoting, radiotherapy can help close the care gap this World Cancer Day. And that makes a huge impact. So once we can gather all that information for everyone, then we can help, get these toolkits and these messaging out that we're coming up with today. All right, back to you, Kyra.
All right, so kind of the workshop part of this. So ideally what we now want to do is 3 single-page toolkits that are basically like scripts of just material that you can use to, copy and paste it into a tweet or put it on LinkedIn or whatever, If someone's really good at TikTok, that'd be cool. I am not, so that's up for grabs. But we want to focus, 1 page for our patients, 1 page for the workforce. And let's face it, so many people don't know what radiation oncology is. Who is a radiotherapist? Who are we? A lot of people know about chemotherapy and systemic therapies, but I think radiation sometimes people forget because it doesn't seem like, oh, you have this big old, big machine you need to treat people. How can that be, made equitable and accessible? And the reality is it can be, and it's a very cost-effective treatment modality. So, really who are the people behind all this? Who are we, and then the digital transformation piece, really utilizing social media and scripts and how we can focus on that.
We have not turned the time over to Naaman. We need to do that too.
Yeah, I was going to give him a minute because I know he's had a lot of experience with Rad Chat podcast, and we did want to hear from him about, your experiences and challenges and kind of tips and tricks. So,
hi everyone. So my name is Naaman. I'm an advanced practice therapeutic radiographer working in London, and I'm also one half of the oncology podcast Rad Chat. So we've been going for just over a year now, a year and 2 months. Sorry, almost 2 months. So we started off only in the UK and now we're in about 86 countries in the world. So the advocacy work, I think sharing with patients is more the patient voice. I think that's really important. So obviously advocating for radiotherapy as a treatment modality, but also I suppose as a support network. So obviously the NHS, I'm sure as you've probably read in the news, is quite stretched at the moment, but in radiotherapy, we've continued to work throughout. So we're trying to push that patient voice element, workforce kind of challenges, but also workforce development. So the continual professional development kind of angle is where we went for, if you want. So we're accredited as CPD. So Darien's obviously been on as well as a guest, but we just post CPD points at the end of each episode, so people can almost like just commuting to work, listen to a podcast, and then try and go through some of the questions on the bottom, and effectively have CPD points from their commute basically. So from that side of things for radiotherapy, I think we're just trying to push the boundaries a bit, because I mean, as you know, we're usually in a radiation-proof bunker in the basement somewhere. So getting a bit of visibility across what we do. I think for World Cancer Day last year, we did just a podcast episode. So we'll probably do something similar, but we've been doing some spotlight videos. As I said, TikTok is where it's at. We're not very good at TikTok, but the videos are not too bad, just over Instagram. But I think it's different demographics. So Instagram will be more patient-focused. TikTok is obviously the future, 18-year-old, 17-year-old showcasing our roles. And then Twitter is more of a professional sphere, along with LinkedIn. Facebook, I'm not a big fan of Facebook, but I know it's quite good for different groups, and also lots of patient advocacy kind of support groups as well. So yeah, there's quite a lot we're involved with. So Joe McNamara is a clinical lecturer up at one of the universities. Sorry, there's a dog next to me. And yeah, so she does a lot of the educational side of things, and we both work with Macmillan Cancer Support. And I know Prof. Pat Price is on the call, but with Radiotherapy UK, we're just trying to bring everyone together. So obviously we've all got one aim or goal, is to make radiotherapy more equitable, especially across the UK, but just sharing stories from different ways of improving service, patient voice, how things can be improved. Also some of the smaller charities that support patients probably as well. But yeah, thank you for letting me speak about it.
We'll make sure we send out all the one-pagers. We're going to compile kind of all our ideas here. We'll make it an easy script, but as whatever characters long for Twitter or whatever, brief, concise, to the point, but with a strong message. We'll have a link on the GCR website. And then there's also a ton of resources on the World Cancer Day website. They have like a whole like material section with logos and things like that makes it really easy to use that stuff. But again, it's a little bit less radiation specific, but there's still great ideas. There's, close the care gap logos and all that stuff. So it's like where I got a lot of the stuff for this presentation. So big thing for, people on the call, I think we want to come up with some social media handles for 3 to 5, not necessarily like cancer organizations, but also just like kind of target audiences. So, use whatever connections you have, universities, like for me, that would be a big thing, the resident community within the US and globally. I've listed a couple big company, big organizations there that, if people, and, again, thank you to representatives from those communities for joining us today. And then the big piece is February 4th is campaigning for World Cancer Day. So that's just over 2 weeks away. It's 2 weeks from this Saturday. So we'll get these things all squared away. And, by next week, we'll have our one-pagers and basically our toolbox for campaigning. And that way, when World Cancer Day is on, we can just fire away. Thank you all for joining again. I really appreciate it. Feel free to email me, tag us on social, whatever. A lot of this stuff is just going to be on our website too. But happy to chat more. So, and hope everyone has a good rest of the day.